What's up guys, so today I'm going to be comparing two big size subwoofers, and they're the Skar SDR 15-inch subwoofer and the Skar SDR 18-inch subwoofer. So is the 18-inch sub actually worth a bit of extra money, or is the 15 just a better value? Well, I'm going to be explaining all that in this video, and hopefully by the end you'll have your decision. So the first thing I'll compare is just the actual size of the subwoofers themselves. So the 18 definitely is a bigger subwoofer, and it does require just a little bit bigger box than the 15, but the difference of size, at least in terms of the box, really isn't that big of a difference. They're both going to require a decently sized box, but the 18 does require just a little bit bigger box, so if size is going to be an issue, then you probably want to keep that in mind. Now I do like how deep these subwoofers go, and the box that I had my 15 in, the 15 did good all the way down to like 18 hertz, but whenever I got under that, it did start to roll off quite a bit, and I couldn't feel the bass as much, but it still did good all the way down to like 18 hertz. The 18 definitely went lower than the 15, as my 18 sounds good all the way down to like 12 hertz, and I'm obviously not hearing too much at 12 hertz, I'm mostly just feeling that bass. And even whenever I'm playing frequencies that both of these subwoofers can play, like around that 20 to 30 hertz range, the 18 just definitely hits them lows with more authority. And it does kind of make sense because the 18 does have a lower FS than the 15. The 15 has an FS of 29 and the 18 has an FS of 24. So that basically means that the 18 is going to be easier to get low. So if you're using these for like home theater applications, then the 18 might be a better option just because it's going to be easier to get low. So sound quality was definitely a question that I had because I did have the 15 first and then I upgraded to the 18. And I was wondering how much the sound quality would change and if the 18 would actually sound worse than the 15. But to be honest, there really isn't that much of a difference, at least in terms of sound quality. I guess the 15 does sound a little bit more tight than the 18, and the 18 doesn't sound super boomy, and it doesn't feel like that the cone is kind of uncontrollable, and they both sound pretty similar, at least in terms of sound quality. So no matter which version you get, they're both going to sound good, and I really couldn't hear any distortion whenever I played them. But I do prefer the 18 sound, and that's mostly because of its frequency response, because the 18 just goes quite a bit lower, but it also just hits them lower frequencies with more authority. So that's why I personally just prefer the 18 sound, but the 15 does still sound good too, but the 18 just hits them lows with a lot more authority. The next thing that I do like about the both of them is just how loud they get on the power that you provide them. Because for a while, whenever I just had the 15, the amp that I was using only put out 250 watts RMS, and even though it was pretty underpowered, the 15 still got pretty dang loud. And of course, whenever I upgraded my amplifier, they both can get pretty loud, but the 18 definitely gets quite a bit louder than the 15, because the 18 is honestly one of the loudest subs that I've ever heard. And I've heard quite a few different subwoofers in person. And one other thing that I really like about the 18 is just how more I can feel the bass compared to the 15. Now don't get me wrong, whenever I play the 15, I definitely can still feel the bass from it, but whenever it starts to hit them lower notes, I just can't feel the bass as much as the 18. As for the 18, whenever it plays frequencies like all the way down to 12 hertz, I'm still feeling that bass all the way down to 12 hertz, because with the 18, it honestly just shakes my whole chair, especially whenever it starts playing them lower frequencies. But with the 15, I really just couldn't feel it as much, and even outside of my listening area, the 18 could just really shake my entire house, and the 15 can shake a lot of things outside of my room, but the 18 just definitely shakes a lot more things. One thing that I equally like about the both of them, so I love how they both include push terminals, because not every subwoofer that I own has push terminals, so it definitely makes it easier when wiring. I also like that they both include a rubber gasket, because also not every subwoofer includes that, but I also like the venting that they both provide, as they both provide pole vents, and they also provide vents around the voice coil too. Now some things that I don't like about the both of them is, for one, the dust cap, and to be honest, the dust cap in the 18 is a little bit worse than what they provide in the 15, because the dust cap in the 15 is honestly pretty stiff. It can move just a tiny bit if you push it hard enough, but for some reason the 18's dust cap is easier to move in whenever I push in on it, and that is kind of weird, because since they are the same model subwoofer, I would expect that they both feel the same. The 18's dust cap isn't the worst thing ever, and I've definitely felt less stiff dust caps, but I do feel like the 18 should have a more stiffer dust cap. The next thing that I kind of dislike is I do wish that the 18 had a bigger magnet than the 15, because this is a thing that I do see with Skar subwoofers, is that the 18s just have a slightly bigger magnet than the 15s or 12s, and I just would like to see that with the SDR lineup. It's not too big of a deal either, as the 18 still sounds great, but I would still like to see just a tiny bit bigger magnet. So which one do I actually think is a better value? So the SDR 18 is $20 more than the SDR 15, so I definitely do think that the 18 is a better value than the 15, and that's because just for a little bit more money, the 18 is quite a bit louder, it goes quite a bit lower, and it just has that more impactful bass, and that bass that I can really feel, and even when it gets super low too. So if you're able to spend the extra $20 in the 18, then I definitely would recommend getting the 18, because in my opinion, the 18 definitely is the better value. But if you guys have the 15 or the 18, let me know down below in the comments what you guys think of it. I appreciate all y'all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.